Erika Kirk reminding us all last night of one of Charlie's greatest talents.
And one of Charlie's greatest talents was his ability, this phenomenal ability to choose great people to follow him. He could always find the ones who could handle any setback. And it's almost like he knew. He could see it in you. Even when you couldn't see it in yourself, he just knew. He knew you could handle it. You thought you only had 5% left, and he knew you had 15. He knew you were ready to go that extra mile even when you didn't.
Joining me now is one of those people that Charlie Kirk lifted up. Anna Scott Marsh is a friend of Charlie Kirk, a recipient of one of those Turning Point scholarships, and a former Turning Point South Carolina field director. Anna Scott, thank you very much for joining us today. My deepest condolences to you and to everyone that loved Charlie and knew him personally and were guided by him and inspired by him. And I just want to give you a chance to say whatever it is that you want to say as we start our talk this morning. Anna Scott.
Thanks for having me, Molly. I really appreciate the platform. I mean, this week has just been absolutely horrific. There's thousands of former employees and people that Charlie just absolutely touched. He brought me on in 2015. I attended CPAC as a high school senior, and Charlie there, I think it was one of the first years that they really had an exhibit at CPAC. I know that so many students came through over the years at those events and encouraged me to apply for a scholarship. I think it was the first scholarship that TPUSA actually issued, and then invited me to the Young Women's Leadership Summit. It was the first one that they held in Illinois, their former headquarters, before they moved to Arizona, and that was an incredibly impactful trip. I remember, I think the first night we were there, we were all just kind of hanging out in the lobby. He was so accessible to the students that he kept around, and he actually offered me a job on the spot. So as I went off to college, I think I was one of the only real conservatives at the university that I was attending in South Carolina at the time, and he gave me so much courage to speak up. I remember as a freshman being in a class with, I think, the South Carolina chair of the ACLU, discussing these different political topics at hand, and I had no fear to speak up in that class ever at any point. Was met with a lot of criticism, but Charlie equipped me and kind of created that foundation to allow me to speak up.
One of the things I found really impactful that I heard since this horrific assassination happened was that this was an attack on all of us, the governor of Utah describing it as that. And Charlie Kirk embodied so much of our most treasured constitutional values, from the freedom of speech to freedom of religion, and also the freedom of assembly, bringing people together to talk, to debate. What do you envision his legacy to be going forward in these months and many, many years and decades to come?
You know, Charlie was not fearful about talking about his faith, and as a Christian, the Bible calls us to be strong and to be courageous and to not live in fear. And I think even for non-believers, that's something to take to heart. It's incredibly powerful. Charlie epitomized that, and I would just encourage everybody listening today, and a lot of young people, young conservatives, but not only conservatives. I think that so many people have been impacted by this, and they previously haven't been conservative or not been outspoken about their political beliefs, or maybe even had political beliefs challenged and changed this week. And I would just encourage everybody to be strong and courageous, exactly what Charlie would want. I think that I was filled with a lot of hopelessness this week, but especially after listening to Erika last night, I have a lot of hope. I have a lot of drive. And I would just encourage others, especially young people, especially those on college campuses, to have the same.
Yeah. Erika spoke so beautifully and so inspiringly and talked about the legacy going forward, that this is something that is building, that something has been unleashed. And when we talk about Charlie Kirk and the gathering of the people, it wasn't just for these debates, it was for the things that you did politically, inviting people into this political process. So where do you think Turning Point goes from here? Do you envision it expanding extensively?
I've been in contact with a few of their leaders over there and just made my commitment, my own personal commitment, to help them out here in North Carolina, to help them out with some of the political donors that have reached out to me and just want to know how to help. I mean, I'm hearing from people that have never been politically engaged before, offering resources, offering donations. I think Erika is a force to be reckoned with. I think we all saw that last night. And as she said, this has absolutely ignited something. I think the intention was to silence and to instill fear. And I just pray and hope, and I'm already seeing seeing that it will just have the opposite impact. And I truly hope that Erika becomes the next face. She came to North Carolina. I posted on social media this week, Charlie did so many things for me over the last 10 years that nobody even knows about. And I remember he last came to North Carolina for me for a fundraiser, completely free of charge, got no recognition. It was very confidential, very private, and brought Erika with him. And she left an impact on everybody in that room, similar to the way that Charlie did. They were an incredibly perfect match. She was so encouraging, and I just pray and hope that she has the strength to carry on the organization and carry that torch, and I fully believe she will.
Yeah, it's clear that she has an enormous amount of faith to stand on and with and within. And your thoughts for her are thank you very much, and our sympathies to you, our gratitude to you for talking to us today. Thank you very much, Anna Scott Marsh. Thank you.